Hello, everyone. Good morning. Is my volume better this time around? Because I know last time people had to lower their volume because the ads were so loud since I was so low. I tried to make my volume higher and let me know if this is good. It's 12 a.m. You think it's good? Because I can make it louder, so I don't have to like give a warning for the ads volume, but okay, this is fine. This is fine. 2 p.m. EST, indeed. It is not morning over there. Someone asked what inspired the eye path, and I'm not sure what that means. I'm gonna be overpainting this middle one here. Eye patch. I'm not sure since this isn't my character. This is the commissioner's character, and I'm not sure if the eye is the flower is growing out of the eye or if it's just covering it. So I'm gonna color the line art before I start over painting. How do I make my line art look as good as a sketch? I just try to do it. Well, I don't try to do it messy, but I do it messy. I try not to get too caught up in the perfection of it, just like you would in a sketch. So I guess that's how I do it. I just woke up like 3 hours ago, so I'm doing well. Nothing particularly good has happened. Nothing particularly bad has happened in my day. Later, though, I want to show you all the homework that I've been working on because I'm actually excited to work on homework, which is a rarity. So last time when I overpainted this first one, I didn't color the lines before I did it, and I kind of it gave me a hard time because of that. So that's why I'm doing this now. Yeah, right. Excited about homework. It's a bit odd. But it's because it's homework that is more like a personal project, you know? It's not I'm not like drawing the front and back of a skeleton and thinking that it's boring. I'm drawing something that I want to do, which is why I really like my professor. The topic for the homework, it's a perspective class, so it's a 3-point perspective, and I get to just draw whatever 3-point perspective thing I want. And I'm drawing my solo D&D character doing something. You also overpaint. How do you feel about overpainting? And like, I'm curious to know how long you've been doing it and like when you switched from just normal coloring, I guess, to overpainting. Because I used to do the typical process where I would color underneath the lines all the time and I would never really go over, like, overpaint, I guess. But then for some reason I felt restricted by it, and so I started overpainting and it like changed my style completely. Because your tablet broke. If you overpaint, no one needs to know. True. I started overpainting because, like, in traditional art, it's kind of just the default. And so I was like, why does digital art have to have a default of coloring underneath the lines? What if I want to color over the lines? And then I just did. Yeah, learning to work around the line art instead of covering it up is pretty difficult. Like, I'm still in the process of trying to find a better method for that because I also tend to lose a lot of the expression that I liked from the lines after overpainting. Yeah, this is this is my everything brush. I call it everything because I use it for everything. I use it to sketch sometimes. I use it to line, I use it to color, and also overpaint. It's on my Gumroad. It's pay what you want, so it could be free if you want it to be. On Clipsita though. On Procreate, it's $1. It's kind of like rendering. Yeah, overpainting is just another word for rendering. I just like to call it overpainting because um I'm more so just literally painting over everything rather than actually rendering. Um at least in my opinion there's a difference. Other people might not think that there's a difference. Hello, Andy. Good morning if it's morning for you. You either overpaint or not shade. For me, I either like for some reason I'm incapable of just leaving things as simple as they are. I just keep adding on detail even though I could just leave it be. Oh, sorry. What drawing tablet do I use? I use the XP pen. I forget if it's a 13 or a 12. It's one of the newer, smaller XP pen ones because I prefer smaller tablets, and I also use Clip Studio Paint. I'm using the X version, version 1, but Pro also works. I used Pro for years before upgrading. Do I have OC stories posted anywhere? I've actually been thinking about that recently on like where I could post them. I've thought about having just a channel on Discord or like I don't know, sharing my Google Docs because I don't want to make like a blog. I don't really know where to put them, but I do want to share them. I'm planning to make a video series where I just talk about what happens in my solo D&D sessions for those characters, and hopefully it works out. How long have I been drawing for? I've been drawing for at least 10 years, and the bulk of that 10 years was me being a beginner, like 13 years old, just copying anime. So it sounds like a lot, but really it isn't. Is there a way to use one of my Procreate brushes in Photoshop? I don't think there is. I don't think they're interchangeable. Yeah, Chetty, one of my professors says this. For any program like Maya, ZBrush, Clip Studio Paint, Photoshop, you're gonna use 20% of the functions 80% of the time. Like you're not gonna use everything all the time, which I think is a good way of looking at most programs because it's very true. I mean, Lincoln Clip Studio has like a bunch of 3D functions and I've barely started using them and they're so useful. And I think it's the learning curve because it's like there's all these tools and I'm too lazy to learn them because you have to learn them like all these they're so useful. You could make a 3D room just in Clip Studio Paint and use it as a reference, but there's a learning curve to it and a lot of people don't want to have to combat that learning curve. There's all these, but then if you want to pose them, you're technically gonna have to learn how to rig and stuff and like how that actually works. New controls also. Yeah, I haven't even touched Procreate's 3D functions. I barely started animating on Procreate. Very underwhelming Photoshop class. I'm sorry for that. I feel like a lot of college classes are very underwhelming because they're built for beginners. So if you kind of already know about the program or the skill that you're trying to learn, um, if you're a little ahead of like where a beginner would be, it is very underwhelming because you're like, I want to actually learn instead of revisiting what I already know. You dropped out. Honestly, I've been on the verge of dropping out for like a year now, but I've been trying to keep going. Do I draw perspective? Yes, I'm currently learning how to get better at it, but I do know how perspective works. I do think Procreate is good for beginner artists. I don't think it's affordable per se because in order to use Procreate, you also need to buy an iPad. But if you already have an iPad, pretty good. I would say though, like maybe don't buy like splurge on an iPad if you're completely new to art. Stick to pen and paper first because it's cheaper than buying a whole iPad. Have I tried Eva's paint? I haven't. And I don't know if I ever will. A lot of people have asked me to make brushes for it, but I'm like, I don't really want to learn an entirely new program just to make brushes for it. I think my iPad is 10th generation or 10 inches. Don't know, but it's refurbished, so I got it on a discount. Honestly, the refurbished ones are perfectly fine. They're like maybe 100, 200 bucks cheaper. A tutorial on eyes. Uh, I'm not. I always tell myself I'm not great at tutorials, or I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of doing tutorials because I feel like I don't explain things well, or I get too caught up in it. It's like there's no middle ground. I use 300 to 350 DPI because there's a possibility I might print my stuff out. I'm in a 3D class right now. I've done ZBrush and also Maya, but I haven't done it in my style, I guess. $500? What is the reason for going all the way up to 500? Are you like printing out your stuff at like really large sizes? Oh, I could get really messy with my overpainting though, but for some reason on this piece I'm leaning towards being like clean with it. Or not clean, but yeah, tidy. Yeah, this is on top of the lines. Let me show you before and after. So this layer is on top of the lines, and then I just paint over it. Ooh, there's a mistake here. So if I move this, this is how it will look. It takes me a few days, maybe a week, but if we're talking hours, I've once sat down for 6 hours straight finishing one of these character sheets. So I guess 6 hours, probably longer than that though. I actually struggle with naming my OCs too. I usually just ask people if they have suggestions and then I take from them. I'm gonna merge them. I'm gonna duplicate the folder and then merge it into one layer. Wait, actually, hold on. I'm gonna separate the overpainting and then merge. Is it not possible to pay your brushes with PayPal? I think you can do that if you buy on Coffee, but not on Gumroad, I believe. I'm not too sure. What's my favorite movie? I don't know if I have one. There's too many that I like. Favorite way to study or improve art? I like to study my favorite artist's style and kind of learn why their stuff looks so good and see what methods they do, try them out for myself, and experiment with my own style after studying those. And also, I mean, I've been enjoying doing gestures more. It's not my favorite thing to do, but it is like one of those practice things that a lot of good artists do. One of my favorite artists, or my most favorite artist, is Manda AMBST. Let me type it down. If you look at their art, you can probably see like the inspiration that I've taken from them because I love Manda's art so much. One second, I'm gonna play an ad while I go get water. So I'm not sure if the volume is still gonna be loud, but just a warning. All right, I'm back. Also, this is not Fluttershy. This is a commissioner's character. Do you like K-pop? Yeah, I used to be a really big K-pop fan back when I was I don't know, like 14, 13. But I kind of grew out of it. But I do still like to listen to it, every now and then, back to like the older songs. I haven't really been getting into the newer groups though. Do I like anime? Yes. I watched the Attack on Titan finale and I teared up. So, other animes I haven't, other than I guess Attack on Titan whenever it releases. I recently rewatched Barakamon, which is a really funny slice of life one. And I've been rewatching Yakutate Japan, my favorite bread anime. Oh, I'm also big one. I'm also rewatching One Piece with my sister. But uh I'm not caught up to One Piece. I stopped in the middle of Wano and I'm rewatching just to like kind of catch up on things. And that was after the live action. I was like, I actually want to rewatch from the beginning, so we did. Yeah, One Piece is so long, but I like that. Um, I don't find it as like a negative because I'm the type of person that's like if I'm consuming some type of media and then it ends, I'm like I'm so sad that it's over. And I love that like One Piece is so long because I know that it's gonna take me a really long time to run out of content because I love the characters, so I'm like the longer it is, the better. Oh, you saw my One Piece stickers? Unfortunately, the bundle listing got taken down on Etsy, but the individual ones are still up. I almost got in trouble with Toei, but What's the difference between a mask and a clipping mask? I can show that right here. Also, is it considered fair use? No, because it's their intellectual property. Uh, there's just workarounds where it's like you're not supposed to put the name in the title, like because I got in trouble. They cracked down on me because I actually put One Piece in the title, and you're not supposed to do that because you're basically putting a target on your back if you do that. Okay, so difference between a clipping mask and a mask. Let me do that on a new canvas. So, a clipping mask, let's say you want to shade this box, but you want what you shade to stay within it. Then you can make a new layer and clip it. So if I don't clip it, this is what happens. Right, this is what happens when you don't clip, when you don't use a clipping mask. And if I clip it, then it'll stay within the confines of that box. That's what a clipping mask is good for. A mask, let's say I have this black box and I want to erase some of it or hide some of it. I guess hide is a better word. I can create a layer mask and then it'll show up right here. And as long as I'm clicking on that mask and not the actual layer, I can erase the box. And I said erase again, but it's more like hiding it because if you take a different color other than, the eraser, you can bring back what you just hid. So, I can bring it back. So you can hide certain parts of your layer that way without completely getting rid of it. And you can also use masks on entire folders and not just the layers. Clipping mask. I don't. It's a little confusing because there's also alpha lock that you can use the same way as clipping mask. So there's also alpha lock right here, this thing, lock transparency pixels. I can do the same thing that I did with the red stripe box with the alpha lock. Except the difference in it is that it's on the same layer. Uh, and now that red is attached to that black, I can't move it. But with a clipping mask, you can move that separate red layer. So that's the difference between coloring within the boundaries of something with a clipping mask versus alpha lock. The mask, though, because like Ansel is asking, what's a mask good for? It's really hard to explain. Um, I'm gonna try to apply it to the art that I'm working on right now. All right, so let's say I have um something like this. Right? Like let's say my line art was a little messier than, it was. And I'm like, I want to get rid of that. But I don't want to have to merge all the layers to do that and, find that specific layer just to get rid of it. So instead I could just go to the folder that I know that it's inside of, right? This entire folder right here. I can apply that mask and then get rid of it that way, just hide it instead of fully erasing it. and now it's gone. But it's just hidden. It's not totally erased. But the problem with that is if you try to draw anything in that space, it's also going to be hidden. You see, yeah, it's useful in a lot of different ways, but there's also, if you're doing something like this and you're like, crap, now that mask is getting in my way, then it might not be the best like solution to your problem. You know, it's just situational. All right, back to work. Thank you, thank you. I'm gonna try to speed through the hair because for some reason I don't feel like doing the hair super detailed. Yeah, this is a commission. How do I deal with an art block? Sometimes I try to draw through it. Other times I just take a break. Both methods work for me personally, or I do like a study, and that's like in the section of trying to draw through it. Because when you do a study, you don't have to do anything creatively since you're studying an existing piece. So it allows you to, kind of go back to the fundamentals and be like, okay, let me just try to relearn something to try and get through this art block. Purposefully drawing something ugly? Yeah, how would that help? Is it, I don't know, are you like asking yourself why it's ugly, or it lets you identify what not to do? True. That is also the same for me, where art blocks are also usually where I'm just hate everything that I draw. Like I guess it's kind of like uh what's it, reverse psychology kind of. Your chemistry class. Oh god, I hated chemistry. I really like drawing eyes and lips. I like rendering lips. It's fun. And also hair is fun to draw because it doesn't have to be perfect since, the way hair flows, it could be messy. I tend to draw very messy looking hair. I don't tend to use vector layers unless I'm working with perspective. I'm kind of dreading rendering the clothes. Yeah, coloring lines is fun. But I also applaud people who can draw very nice looking art without coloring their lines because I can't do it. Like, there are some people where their art just looks so amazing, even though it's just black line art. And I'm like, how do you do that? Because when I do it, it looks lifeless. Homework. Gross. I also have homework, but I'm neglecting it. Ugh, a lab report? I hated doing those. Well, I'm combating homework with being productive on another thing. So, Have you tried studying up on facial anatomy to try and combat, not ever being satisfied with the way you draw faces? Or I don't know, experimenting with your style and seeing other ways you can draw faces? 'Cause I feel like that's what I've done in the past since I also ran into that problem. Hello, Indra. Yeah, it is very upsetting. Reels are the cheat to gaining Instagram followers, and it sucks. No one likes making reels, but we do it. We do it to appease the algorithm. And there's also, a recipe for success for reels. You can't just make like any reel and expect it to go big. You have to really catch people's attention with it. I don't feel like rendering the book right now, so I'll do that some other time. Oh, right, the hands. Uh, I'll do the hands with the book some other time. I just merged the layers so I can liquefy some of this. My favorite part to render would probably be lips because it's fun to make them all plump and stuff. All right, I'm gonna play an ad while I figure out what to do next. For some reason, I don't want to keep rendering. I don't want to work on the third one. So, stream might be coming to an end here. This is kind of a short stream, but yeah, I played an ad. Excuse me. I played an ad while I was trying to figure out what to do. I mentioned earlier that I wanted to show you guys my homework, so maybe I'll do that. You guys cool with that? I'm gonna show you some of my homework before I end stream. If I could find the file. So this is for my ZBrush class. I have to design and 3D model a robot because we're working on hard surfaces. And so for some reason I wanted kind of like a heavy set robot, large upper body and like small legs, maybe small hands. And I ended up going with this dapper looking one. And I've been trying to model him and it's kind of difficult. I can even pull up the ZBrush file for that. Hold on. Pulling up the ZBrush file. Hopefully my computer can handle it while I'm streaming. Okay, so this is what I have so far with him. Actually, this is not the updated version. This is the base that I made in Maya. Uh yeah. But I actually worked on him some more. But I don't know where the files went. Oh, I found them. Oops, I opened the wrong one. Hold on. I could even show you guys my first ZBrush project, which was a female demon, drow, tiefling, demon type of girly. He's missing some of his parts. Hold on, let me make them visible. This is how he's looking right now. I'm struggling a lot with this, and I'm probably gonna redo it. The body part, I'm gonna redo that part, but I am happy with how the collar and the hat turned out. His head is still low poly. That has a bunch of polygons. Gosh. Yeah. Still learning ZBrush. I'm still learning like the optimal methods of modeling. So there's definitely a lot to be worked on here. But I like the structure of him so far. It matches my sketch. So now with my female demon, that one is a bigger file, and I'm kind of nervous my stream's gonna crash if I open it, but I'm gonna risk it. Please. Okay, there she is. Why is that such low quality? Hold up. She kind of, if you've played Baldur's Gate 3, she kind of looks like a mixture of Minthara and Mizora. Because she kind of has Mizora's horns if they were bigger. Oops. And then she has Minthara's like facial features kind of. I kind of got a little lazy with the clothing though. It wasn't as detailed as I wanted it to, but I'm really happy with the face. It's so laggy, guys. It's so laggy. Really like her side profile also. I might just insert her as a character into one of my D&D campaigns. Just cuz I already have a 3D model for her, so like why not, right? I already have her look. So yeah, she kind of looks like a drow slash tiefling, right? If that is even allowed in D&D. And then with my perspective class, since people have been asking about perspective, I posted this on my community tab and also my Discord server. Um, is the thumbnails that I did for my perspective class. So with this one, I'm drawing my solo D&D character and we're supposed to do a 3-point perspective. So I was like, oh, I could draw her studying or something. Like that's the vision I had in my head is her messily studying at her desk or in her library. And so I like these two the best. This one just zoomed out from the top. She's looking through a bunch of papers and trying to learn about some piece of information. Yeah, solo D&D. It's like it's basically like writing a book except you're rolling dice with it. I use an oracle as my DM, mythic GME. I use that as my DM. So it's like, the same questions that you would ask your DM like is this door locked? You would just ask the oracle. You would roll a dice and then depending on a dice roll, it's a yes or a no. And then you just interpret the yes or no into something interesting for your story. And so I've been doing that and it's been fun. It's been working out great for me. And I'm going to make a video series about that while I draw her. And hopefully finalizing one of these will make it into that video. I can't decide yet if I want to go with one or two, but I also really like number 5. Number 3, I was messing around with like the idea of her running down the street while she's carrying like a stack of books and then maybe the books fall because she's running because she's kind of an impulsive and wild character. Number 4 is like what if there was this dynamic very foreshortened shot where she's in the dark holding a candle holder or whatever looking for a book about magic. And I want it to be more foreshortened than it is, but I'm still learning how to foreshorten, so I'm probably not going to go with this one because I'm not confident enough to execute it. This one is just another version of the studying bit where she's actually sitting down at like a study desk instead of just a desk in the middle of a room because these are in the middle of a room. And she's reading a note because in the story uh there's a part where she receives a note from another PC and I was like, what if I draw her reading it, you know? And I wanted to show you how I utilize 3D for this because if you're using Clip Studio Paint, 3D is actually extremely useful. For example, let's see. Oh yeah, these are my messy sketches if you want to see them. That's one where she's going like, on the desk. Here's another angle where she's going like that on the desk. Very messy. PC is playable character from D&D. This is me trying to make the bookcase for number 4. It looks nothing alike. I guess this kind of looks similar. And I was trying to figure out the vanishing points and stuff. This is I was messing around with the top view for the running one with number 3. If it was from the top instead of from lower. This is I made this 3D room for I think number 2. And I use a 3D model just to assist me with the sketch and stuff. No, this is for number 1. So this is how I used it. I just put a bunch of boxes in a scene and I was like, okay, it'll help me kind of figure out where things are in the room and their sizes and just mess around with a sketch. So the 3D stuff is extremely, extremely useful. This is how it looked for number 2. I made the desk longer because I felt that it should be longer here than it was in the 3D model. With this one, it was like this, like that, and I changed the arm position. Uh, you can't make the 3D models. You can import a 3D model that you made in a different software into Clip Studio Paint. And if it's rigged, you could also change the poses of it. I didn't even change the poses of these. I just used the default poses that they have. And this is number 5. And it just helps you like assist. It just assists you in a lot of ways. And then I could just go off of my sketch for the final thing, instead of relying on it too much, because you can use the 3D stuff to assist you, but you also yourself need to know and understand how perspective works and how putting things in the space of a room works. So yeah, that's my homework. I have to finish uh it by like the end of this month. And this robot I think is my last project until December or something like that. And I'm only taking 3 classes and I'm already so overwhelmed, which is why I've been thinking of dropping out so I could just focus on like doing commissions and stuff. But I'm trying to trek through it and push through it so that I haven't wasted all the years that I've spent in college just to not get the degree. Okay. Uh yeah, I think that's all that I have for stream. I'm feeling a little lazy today and I don't want to render this last one. and the book. So I'm gonna play one last ad as I end. And yeah, thank you guys for hanging out. Um, I will say my next stream will probably be next week because I won't be home over the weekend. So next time you'll see me will probably be next week, and I might not be working on this anymore. I will probably finish this off stream if I don't stream tomorrow. So this might be the last you'll see of this until I post the video of the me working on it. So yeah, bye 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 bye.